Okay, so these are some of the trees that I've been working on, just experimenting with materials and 3D printed parts. These trees are actually the one that I think it looks more realistic. I think it's this guy right here, and this is the type of tree that you would find in areas such as Arizona, for example. And so I try to mimic that look. You can see it's got the 3D printed branches underneath, and then the top is just the foliage, very lightly done, so that you get the illusion that these are leaves on a tree. The more dense trees, this is something maybe that you would find maybe in the East Coast mountains, um, places where there's a lot of pine trees, a lot of greenery, and so these are a little bit more dense. The stems are basically bamboo sticks inside 3D printed tubes, basically, that are rather conical. They are wider at the bottom, and then they go uh, narrower at the top. So, and the material, by the way, is polyfill. This polyfill right here is has been placed around the same thing around the branches. There's a branch underneath there, 3D printed branch. You don't see it because it's pretty dense, and then it has been modified with a hot iron. I just shoved the hot iron there to create those little pockets there that you see there. This one has not been touched. It's just a little tree, and it's more in scale with the rest of these buildings here. Where to put that little tree there? You can see that it's more in scale with that. And of course, I have my other trees that I started with. These 3D printed uh, flat prints that are stacked, to create the illusion of trees. But these are a little more realistic. This is another tree that you can see some of the branches there that are sticking out there, and this one is also done with layered branch 3D prints. Those are printed flat, and then they're bent just a little bit downward. It could be bent upwards depending on the shape that you want in the tree. And I need to trim that top portion of this tree, which is the center stem, the bamboo stick. These are 1/8 or 3 millimeter bamboo sticks inside the 3D printed uh, trunks. And so that's what that is. Put it on this base. This is a crappy base, but I ran out of bases. These are more permanently installed there. And some of these other ones are just, this is done with the stuff that you buy at Joann Fabrics, Michaels, those little flower stems that come with these tiny leaves. And so that's how that's done. It gives you the illusion of a branch of miniature tree, but not as much as I think this tree right here, or even that tree over there that we see, or even this one right here, which has the branches a little bit sticking out. Um, this can be also modified. Oh, the polyfill is colored with just spray paints for plastics, for metal, for wood. And when the paint is applied to the polyfill, if you apply it lightly, um, it'll it'll show more like this, like these trees right here. It'll show through. But if you start applying the paint a little bit thicker, it gets to the point where it actually starts, I believe, eating some of the, depending on the type of paint, eating some of the polyfill. It's the paint is adhering to it, and it creates this more. It creates more of a natural bush-like surface. And so these are the trees that I've been working on for this scenery here, for this layout. Um, and as I've said in some other videos, I'm eager to get this all this stuff laid out on the 8 by 4 foot board. Um, so maybe this coming weekend, I will maybe start that project. But in the meantime, I have some orders that I need to take care of. People still order my radio control RC microlights, ultralights, and so I have to complete those orders and get them out because those are kind of lingering also in the back of my in the back of my mind, and I really want to spend the time. I want to get that out so that I can spend proper time in assembling the all these parts that I've been showing uh, into that layout. Those are more cactus or cacti. I'm very happy with the way these cactus branches and items came out. And the bases right now are just done in gray, but I think when I'm ready to install them on the board, I'm going to paint those or maybe embellish them with greenery so they end up something like this or like that or like this one right here. Here's a base done with some green. And so I'm experimenting still, with this material here, this polyfill, in a way that I can not only do trees like this one right here. These trees came out a little more in line with what I would consider a little more realistic. But I'm also experimenting with this material. I have to spend some time and see if I can manage to use this material in a way to create grass. I do like this. I do like that to some degree, but this is a little more rough. This is done with scouring pads that you can buy at the dollar store. You get a little pack of, I think, 6 for about $1.25. And those pads are very rough. What I did with those is slice them thin on a bandsaw to create that sort of sheet of fake grass that you see there. But it's still a little bit. I think it's a little bit rough, for scale. So polyfill would be excellent if I can lay it down on a flat sheet and then come back and then just trim it somehow. And that's what my that's what's on my mind right now, to see if I can trim it and create my own sheets with polyfill. So or even just a shred polyfill and sprinkle that over a sheet of paper or some kind of a cardstock material that I can create. I mean they sell fake grass in similar form, and I think in paper rolls or something like that. You can buy that. I don't have that. I don't want to buy things that I can make, and I think I can make some pretty decent grass sheets in the way that I just described. Provided I have to experiment with that and sink in for a couple days. These things take me a couple of days to play with. I start with an idea. I do it on CAD. Like the branches took me quite some time to come up to that level of these branches right here. You can see those branches are a little bit different than these. These came out like they look like devil forks. But from here I went to these guys here, which is a little more. These branches are a little bit thinner, and they're just a little bit wider than the nozzle width. Because sometimes Cura, the slicing software, doesn't allow you to print things well. Sometimes skips the fills if it's not a little bit wider than the nozzle opening, which is 0.4 millimeters. So these are done at 0.5 millimeters width, and so I was able to layer that out as a branch that looks more like that. I created one set of one arm, and then I rotated that arm 1, 2, 3. I think these are at 60 degrees. So there would be 6 branches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 60 degrees rotation. You can see the branches there, and they don't interfere when they're rotated. And once that's printed, they're printed with the stem. That's about 6 millimeters in height. The little stem creates the separation between some of these branches, although here I separated them a little bit um, wider, because I didn't want the branches to be too close for this illusion here. Uh, the I don't know if I showed that lake over there. It's something also that I just finished not too long ago. Some palm trees done in white. I have to spray those. Um, and Yeah, here's another palm tree here. I don't think I showed this before, but it's basically the same concept here. With it's got three holes this base. Plus, I started doing this with another hole on that side, so that I can insert additional bushes and things of that nature. But that's basically it. And this is done with 3D printed those 3D printed tree trunks that I mentioned. So this is where I'm at this point. Stay tuned for more.